Hello, everyone, and welcome to Walking Through the Bible. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Job's friends have 5 times told Job that he is suffering because he is a sinner and in need of repentance, and 5 times Job has rejected their argument due to a lack of specificity about his sin and due to the fact that Job points out that God allows the righteous to suffer along with the wicked. In fact, Job believes God causes this suffering on whomever he wills simply because he wills it. In other words, God doesn't need a reason to inflict suffering because he is God. But here you have Zophar, having heard his 2 compatriots speak for a second time, feel the need to join the conversation again. Why? Let's find out. If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to the book of Job, to chapter 20. We're going to be reading from verses 1 to 11. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Job chapter 20, beginning of verse 1. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, "Therefore my anxious thoughts make me answer, because of the turmoil within me. I have heard the rebuke that reproaches me, and the spirit of my understanding causes me to answer. Do you not know this of old, since man was placed on the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? Though his haughtiness mounts up to the heavens, and his head reaches to the clouds, yet he will perish forever like his own refuse. Those who have seen him will say, 'Where is he?' He will fly away like a dream and not be found. Yes, he will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more, nor will his place behold him any more. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will restore his wealth. His bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust." At the end of the last chapter, Job told his friends about his faith in his Redeemer, God, who would in the end vindicate Job as righteous. But couched in that hope was a dig at his friends in that they too would stand before God, but they would stand before him in judgment for the accusations they made against a righteous Job. And they shouldn't expect God to be kind to them in that judgment either. It is likely this statement that rankled Zophar so much that he said he felt he needed to respond. Such is often the case in religious debates, or any debate for that matter. Nobody likes to be accused of something they don't believe they're guilty of, and nobody likes when it is said God is going to judge them harshly for their actions when they believe those actions to be right. However, what Job's 3 friends have not stopped to ask themselves is, why is Job so adamant that he is righteous? Is it because he is blinded by sin? Or could he in fact actually be right and our understanding wrong? Sadly, I believe Job's friends, with their understanding of things being what they are, as received from those of old, believe the former and never consider that their theology about suffering may be wrong. Can we be guilty of such an attitude? Of course we can. Perhaps we've grown up reading the Bible and hearing a particular verse or set of verses taught one way. And because we trust our preacher, we simply accept that that's what the verse means. For instance, some teach from Romans 4, verses 1 to 4, that salvation is by faith alone, when it says that Abraham believed God and it was accounted to him for righteousness. It has been taught this way by many denominations for centuries. So that's what this verse must mean, right? But then you run into James 2:24, which says that a man is justified by works and not by faith alone. Both passages talk of Abraham, and both quote Genesis 15, verse 6, talking about Abraham's faith being accounted to him for righteousness. So what gives? Could it be that our understanding of salvation is wrong? Could it be that we aren't saved by faith alone, but a faith that obeys what God says? That's what the scriptures actually teach. Our works earn us nothing, but our works complete our faith, and so both are necessary. And in reality, had we gone back and read Genesis 12 through 15, we could have come to that conclusion on our own, because Genesis 15 verse 6 is said only after Abraham obeyed God all those years before and brought his family to Canaan, the land that God would show him. Abraham's faith was completed by his works, and so God declared him righteous. Paul is not teaching salvation by faith alone, and neither is James teaching salvation by works alone. Both teach the same thing, but sometimes we have to set aside our religious dogma and let the scriptures speak for themselves. Zophar was so upset that hearing he might have to answer before God for his actions that he never stopped to consider that he might be wrong about Job. Instead, he marched on into a rather harsh sermon, some of which we'll have to save for the next lesson. If you wanted a title for this sermon, you could title it, "The Heritage God Appoints for the Wicked Man." And what is that heritage? Eternal destruction. Job has been saying that sometimes the wicked prosper, so suffering itself doesn't prove you're wicked. Zophar says that this prospering is only momentary. Though he be haughty now and his head grows so big that it reaches the clouds, in the end he will perish in his own dung and his body return to the earth. Those who have seen him will ask where he is, but he shall never be found again, for he vanishes like a dream or a vision in the night. He may have stolen or taken from the poor, but his children will seek the favor of the poor, either by providing restitution or simply through friendliness, so much so that in his guilt he will return what he took, thus not living it up so well in the end. He may seem strong now, but he will one day die, as is the way of all men. Zophar's point, Job, you're a sinner and are suffering because in the end all sinners suffer. You may have been rich and powerful before, but that was before. If you had been righteous, you would have remained that way. But you have simply been exposed as wicked due to your loss, as is the way of all who are wicked. No introspection to consider your own theology, no specific sin identified that Job committed. Simply a statement of belief that suffering occurs because one is wicked, and that even though the wicked seem to prosper now, eventually their evil deeds will catch up with them. Now, of course, Zophar is wrong about his conclusions about Job, but his ideas are not completely without merit. Many of the wicked do prosper here on this earth, and this can sometimes be discouraging to the righteous. How can someone be allowed to cheat and steal from the stock market and keep their proceeds, while someone less wealthy go to jail for stealing some food to feed their family? But let's not fear, for in the end God will judge the wicked. You see, where Zophar gets it wrong is to conclude that the wicked always are punished in this life. Some are, but some are not. However, all will stand before the judgment seat of Christ and will give account for the things done in the body, whether good or bad, as we learned in our recent study of 2 Corinthians. Justice will come, but it will come in God's time. We'll continue with Zophar's sermon, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Job chapter 20, verses 12 to 29, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. We thank you for watching Walking Through the Bible today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. But if you like this video, we ask that you consider subscribing to our channel so you won't miss out on other videos in our series, as well as share this video among your friends so that the saving message of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.